This instruction video will show you how to set up an LMD series of detection. These are the models that will be covered with this video. That is 622, the 624H, the 602, 604, the 222, and the 224. When you follow with the last digit is usually going to tell you how many channels you have. In this case, if you have the number 2, it's a 2 channel. If you have the number 4, it's a 4 channel. Now we're going to go ahead and set the sensitivity on this LMD 222 detector. What you want to do is take a 4-door sedan or your standard car and put it over the loop. If you notice, we have a call, which the detect light is on, and we have the number 5, which is what we want. What I like to do is go ahead and take it down a couple and then bring it back to let the detector know that I'm programming it, and now it's set at 5. If I go to channel 2, which is right here, you notice it's set at 3, so I'm going to go ahead and set up the sensitivity to 5. And now my sensitivity is correct, meaning that if you have an 18-wheeler, it's going to see that footprint of the 18-wheeler and give you a number. In this case, you got a number 8, which is fine. Once you set up the sensitivity, you really don't care what the number is as long as you get the detect light, because over time it's going to move and going with different speeds, it's going to give you the readings. That's to show sensitivity. If you want to see what the frequency is, there is 4 standard frequencies, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you hit the frequency key or button, you notice that the loop 1 is set on frequency 3, which is 72 kilohertz. If I want to change it to a lower one, I would go to the number 1, and this gives you 61 kilohertz. Now if we look at channel 2 and hit the frequency, we notice it's set at 4. Well, if you notice right now we got an 81 kilohertz. If I go ahead and take channel 1 and go to 4, you're going to see that the kilohertz there is 79. So if you notice down here, frequency 4 on a different loop, or the second loop, is going to be 81. So depending on what your loop detection or your loop configuration is, you're going to see a slight frequency change, because there might be more turns on channel 2 than there is of channel 1. The key thing is you just want to make sure that your frequency is about 5% difference or 10% difference between the two. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and make this 61, and of course channel 2 is 81, meaning that when I have a car over here, it will not inadvertently talk to the channel next to it. The other thing that's key is if you have 2 loops that are close together, you want to try to keep it on one channel, because that will also help prevent noise between the channels. We're going to go ahead and do the output modes setting. Mode 1, if you click on mode, S stands for short. It's going to go ahead and spell out the word short, and that lets you know that the car, if it's there for 30 minutes, after 30 minutes it's going to ignore it. If you want a long presence, you're going to go to the L, and what that's going to give you is 120 minutes, and if you notice, it spelled out the word long. The next setting is P for pulse, and that's the pulse, and it'll go ahead and spell pulse out for you, P-U-L-S-E, and I'll let you know that it's in a pulse. So that means when a car goes over, and I'm going to show you, if you notice the detect light came on for just 120 milliseconds. Take it off, I'm going to go again, there you go. So you see it's 100 milliseconds. The next mode that you can choose is call, and what this is going to do, it's going to put in a constant call. So if you notice, the detect light is on, and it's on all the time. Doesn't matter if there's a car there or not, it's always going to be a constant call. The last mode is to turn off the detector completely, which is a minus symbol. When you have the minus symbol, no matter what you do, it's not going to let you pick up a car. So it's like you've disconnected the detector and the loop from the circuit. We're going to go ahead and put this back into short. And now we're going to go with some of the faults. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to disconnect channel 2. So I'm going to have an open. So if you notice, the light is now on. The detect light and the fail light are flashing, and you have an F, meaning that you have a failure in the field. This will always put a call in to the controller until it's repaired. In this case, we're going to go ahead and repair it by connecting it back up. But if you notice, the fault light is still there and it's blinking on, off, on, off. That lets you know that you had a open circuit. So what you're going to do is, to reset it, you can pull the unit power off, or you can hit the mode and frequency button simultaneously. That resets it. The next setting that we're going to do is we're going to give you a short. So now I'm going to take this and short my 2 connections. And if you notice, you see that there is a fault. When I move them apart, it will heal. There we go. The fault went away. But if you notice, it double flash. So we know there's a problem, or there was a problem. It's still working now. This is let you know, if you come in the future and you see the fault light, you had a problem, but it was healed itself. To get rid of that fault light, push mode and frequency simultaneously, and it resets it. If you have any questions, go to editraffic.com. Our email is support@editraffic, and our phone number is 602-396-1284.